just brunette because of the books.
And everyone knows blondes are nicer anyway.
Is going to affect people and they're going to want to tell you about their lives. So if someone understands the themes of this movie, comes across you in public, and they want to really talk to you, what's the best way for them to be able to talk to you about this? How would you recommend they go about it?
Like asking for like my address or my phone number or like my location share? Or I could just location share you. There was an article recently saying that Leighton and I were frenemies. And it's
frenemies. Is that the new term? Frenemies?
Yeah, we're friends, but we're also enemies. And it's really strange because they always want to pit women against each other. You don't hear about like Penn and Chase hating each other.
Hollywood's golden girl might not be so golden after all for years. Blake Lively has been seen as the perfect A-lister, talented, charming, and scandal-free. She's the devoted wife, the loving mother, and the industry darling, with powerful friends like Taylor Swift and Ryan Reynolds. But behind the glitz and glamour, a very different story is unfolding. Her former co-stars have had enough. From on-set power plays to backstabbing in Hollywood, the Blake Lively you thought you knew might not be real at all. And the most shocking part? This isn't new. The signs were always there, from Gossip Girl drama to allegations of blacklisting. With former co-stars stepping forward and backlash growing louder, Blake's golden image may not survive this one. Stick around, because the truth is more shocking than anyone expected.
My parents had paid the show choir director to put me in the choir because I can't sing or dance to save my life.
But you were lead in that choir,
I went in there, I was like, I'm supposed to be in this choir. Yeah, I was very like passionate, and you know, they put me in the choir.
Were you a high school actress?
No, I was in show choir. Glee is based on my high school, so it was oh, it was so much fun. If I could be professionally in show choir for a living, I would, but I can't sing or dance. And
so how do you end up in show choir if you can't sing or dance?
Because I was really excited to be there, and I just I had a very big performance face, so they put me in the front row a lot because there were amazing singers and dancers that were just kind of saying the words, but I would be like...
The perfect image begins to crack from the outside. She seems untouchable. Her carefully crafted image, bolstered by close friendships with powerhouses like Taylor Swift, has made her one of the most beloved figures in entertainment. But beneath the surface, things aren't as perfect as they seem. For years, whispers of her controlling nature, behind-the-scenes feuds, and manipulative tendencies have swirled around Hollywood. Despite this, she managed to keep the bad press at bay until now. Her former co-stars are finally speaking out, and their stories all share one common thread. Working with Blake Lively isn't as glamorous as it looks. One by one, the people closest to her on set have revealed a pattern of power plays, alleged sabotage, and career-altering conflicts. The list of people who have clashed with Blake is long and spans multiple projects and years. Penn Badgley, Gossip Girl. When Penn joined the show, he was reportedly ostracized from the start. Insiders claim Blake turned the rest of the cast against him. After she skyrocketed to fame, he was allegedly blacklisted in the industry, a career slump he only recovered from years later. Leighton Meester, Gossip Girl. On screen, they played best friends. Off-screen, reports suggest a tense and distant relationship. While some brushed it off as clashing personalities, others claim Blake intentionally undermined Leighton behind the scenes. Anna Kendrick, A Simple Favor. A fallout reportedly escalated during the press tour, where Blake's behavior made interviews uncomfortable and awkward. Some insiders even suggest Blake refused to promote the sequel, forcing the studio to shelve the project. Justin Baldoni, It Ends With Us. The most recent and explosive case. What started as minor creative disagreements allegedly spiraled into a full-blown power struggle that left the film's production in chaos and triggered a legal battle. For years, Blake Lively managed to keep these controversies buried. But now, they're finally coming to light. And if the growing backlash is any indication, this might be the scandal that finally cracks her perfect image.
Chuck has a matching pet monkey with coordinating outfits, and I was like, I would love to be part of the show, but I can't act with a monkey. And then I got a few of them.
She got a few of them.
Come on, it was a...
The Gossip Girl feud and career fallout at first glance. Gossip Girl seemed like a dream job for Penn Badgley. Playing Dan Humphrey, the show's brooding outsider-turned-Upper East Side insider, gave him mainstream recognition. But behind the scenes, things weren't so glamorous. From the moment he joined the cast, insiders claim Penn was treated like an outsider, thanks to Blake Lively. Reports suggest that Blake, who quickly became the unofficial leader of the Gossip Girl cast, influenced the social dynamics on set. She allegedly steered the group against Penn, making it difficult for him to bond with his co-stars. While it's unclear why Blake allegedly took issue with him, the effect was obvious. Penn often seemed isolated compared to the rest of the cast, who formed a tightly knit unit. But the tensions didn't just end when Gossip Girl wrapped. After the show, Penn's career unexpectedly stalled while Blake skyrocketed. She landed high-profile roles, major endorsement deals, and industry-wide recognition, while Penn's career seemingly took a back seat. Some speculated that Blake's influence played a role in how he was quietly pushed out of the Hollywood spotlight. However, Penn proved he was never the problem. Years later, he made a stunning career resurgence with Netflix's You, where his performance as Joe Goldberg reminded audiences why he had been a star in the first place. If anything, Penn's comeback proved that his struggles post-Gossip Girl had nothing to do with talent, but everything to do with circumstances. If Gossip Girl was known for anything, it was the iconic friendship-turned-rivalry between Serena van der Woodsen and Blair Waldorf. But while fans loved the complex bond between the two characters, things off-screen weren't quite as warm. Reports have long suggested that Blake Lively and Leighton Meester never got along. The show's executive producer, Joshua Safran, later confirmed that they were never friends in real life. Some insiders chalked it up to clashing personalities. Leighton was known for being more reserved and introverted, while Blake thrived on being the center of attention. However, others claimed the tension ran deeper. One of the most striking moments came when Blake, in an interview, made a casual joke about Leighton being born in prison. While Leighton has openly spoken about her mother giving birth to her while serving time, many felt it was an incredibly insensitive comment, one that suggested Blake had little regard for her co-star's difficult upbringing. The tension between them didn't go unnoticed. As the seasons progressed, fans began picking up on the lack of warmth in their later interactions, with some even suggesting that their off-screen rivalry bled into their on-screen performances. By the time Gossip Girl ended, there was little effort to hide the distance between them. Unlike many co-stars who reflect fondly on their time together, Blake and Leighton went their separate ways with virtually no interaction after the show ended. While Blake continued to be a fixture in Hollywood, Leighton took a more low-key approach, focusing on her music career and smaller acting projects. However, many fans believe that Leighton's talent far exceeded the opportunities she received, leading to speculation that Blake's influence may have had a hand in how their post-Gossip Girl careers played out.
Ryan on that film.
Got it.
And thought she seemed nice, and little did I know.
Yeah. We got the body language experts analyzing this right now. How quickly do you...
Don't touch me.
How quickly do you know if you're gonna gel with a co-star? Is it like day one, you're like, okay, I'm in this and it's not working, or...
I feel like it's pretty rapid cognition for me.
Yeah, I think you know, but there's some people, like, I've had people who, like, I don't necessarily, like, we're not best buddies at all moments, but, like, do we do well together on screen? And there's some people that, like, we're best buddies, and then on screen it's like... So you just never really know.
Right.
And so, I don't know, but it's fun. But you definitely know once you're shooting, like, who...
Yeah.
Oh, this is what it's gonna be.
Who you gel with and who you don't, and like, and that was what's so great about this movie, is that the characters on the page can be a little bit more like black and white. Like these two women, we didn't totally understand how they would come together and be friends, but once we got in it, once we started playing, and once Paul sort of created that environment, we stepped into our characters and our wardrobe and saw how over the top we could be in moments and how, you know, honest we could be in others. It just sort of like all came together in a way.
Whatever the cause, by the time the press tour for A Simple Favor rolled around, the animosity between them was impossible to ignore. Interviews between Blake and Anna became increasingly awkward, with Blake often making passive-aggressive remarks and Anna clearly frustrated by her co-star's behaviour. One moment in particular stood out, when Anna sarcastically corrected Blake during an interview, pointing out how she had misused a common phrase. While the moment was played off as humour, the tension was obvious.
The opinion of me is just so positive. I do let it affect me. I do. Because everyone's like, you're great, and I'm like, I know.
You're not great. Blocked.
Yeah.
Do you block people ever?
No, I've muted some people. Now that it's a function on Twitter and Instagram, there's a couple people that I have muted.
Good.
Yeah. Blake Lively.
You can mute people on Instagram?
Yeah, it's a new feature.
Really?
I know. Get excited.
Wow, that's exciting.
But you replied to someone recently, I think, which they made headlines about. On
really?
Instagram, yes. Someone was saying something about a spelling or something, and you just
Oh my gosh, I always
back.
appreciate when people correct me. It wasn't, someone said something about the spacing. I still really don't know how social media works, so if someone tells me how to fix spacing on something, hyperlinks. Who knows how to work a hyperlink?
I don't know.
I use an iPhone, it does everything for me.
Pause. By the time the press tour for A Simple Favor rolled around, the animosity between them was impossible to ignore. Interviews between Blake and Anna became increasingly awkward, with Blake often making passive-aggressive remarks and Anna clearly frustrated by her co-star's behavior. One moment in particular stood out when Anna sarcastically corrected Blake during an interview, pointing out how she had misused a common phrase. While the moment was played off as humor, the tension was obvious. As the press tour continued, things only got worse. Insiders from the film studio later revealed that by the time the promotional campaign was in full swing, Blake and Anna had completely stopped speaking to each other. This was a major issue considering they were the two leads of the film. The strained dynamic made marketing the movie difficult, and while A Simple Favor performed decently at the box office, it didn't reach the level of success many expected. But perhaps the biggest fallout came later when a sequel was announced. Fans were excited, until rumors surfaced that Blake had refused to participate in the promotional campaign despite being the film's main character. Blake reportedly had no interest in engaging with the project, leading Amazon to shelve the sequel indefinitely. Without her involvement, the film's prospects dwindled, leaving not just Anna but the entire production team at a loss. While Anna has never publicly commented on the full extent of their falling out, her decision to mute Blake on social media spoke volumes. It was a quiet but telling move that indicated just how deep the divide between them had grown. The pattern is clear. From Gossip Girl to major Hollywood films, Blake Lively has left a trail of fractured relationships and unresolved conflicts. While some stars walk away from projects with lifelong friendships, Blake has done the opposite, creating a growing list of industry figures who want nothing to do with her. And yet, through all of this, she has managed to maintain her spotless public image. But with the rise of social media and a new wave of Hollywood transparency, keeping these feuds buried is no longer an option. More and more people are stepping forward, and the question now isn't just how many bridges Blake has burned, but whether she'll ever be able to repair them. For years, Blake Lively's behind-the-scenes reputation was only whispered about, minor feuds, subtle power plays, and conflicts that never quite made it into the mainstream. But that all changed with It Ends With Us, a film that was supposed to be a massive success. Instead, it turned into a battleground, exposing what many claim to be Blake's most blatant display of control and manipulation yet. And this time, her co-star Justin Baldoni wasn't willing to stay silent. When the film adaptation of Colleen Hoover's best-selling novel It Ends With Us was announced, fans were thrilled. The book had become a massive cultural phenomenon, and with Justin Baldoni not only starring in the film but also directing it, expectations were high. Blake Lively's involvement as the lead actress only increased the buzz, her first major movie role in years. But from the very beginning, there were signs that something wasn't right. Justin, who had been passionate about bringing Hoover's story to life, reportedly felt sidelined almost immediately. As both the lead actor and the film's director, he should have had creative authority. But behind the scenes, Blake was allegedly making major decisions, often without his input according to multiple sources. The tension between Blake and Justin started early in production. The two reportedly had very different creative visions for the film, but rather than working collaboratively, Blake allegedly began exerting more influence over the decision-making process. And she wasn't doing it alone. Insiders claim that Blake leveraged her husband, Ryan Reynolds, to push through certain changes to the script and overall direction of the movie. Ryan, a well-established force in Hollywood, had the kind of influence that Justin simply couldn't compete with. It became clear that Justin wasn't just directing It Ends With Us. He was directing it under Blake's watchful eye. Over time, Justin reportedly became increasingly frustrated with his lack of control. Scenes were being rewritten, creative changes were being made, and major decisions were happening without him being consulted. But things reached an entirely new level when Justin learned, in the most humiliating way possible, that Ryan Reynolds had been secretly involved in one of the film's key moments. During the press tour, Justin was blindsided when it was revealed publicly that Ryan had helped oversee the infamous rooftop scene. Up until that moment, Justin had believed he was in control of the film's direction. Instead, he found out, along with the rest of the world, that Ryan had quietly influenced one of the most pivotal sequences in the movie. The revelation wasn't just a betrayal, it was a public embarrassment. If Blake had involved Ryan behind the scenes without telling Justin, what else had she been doing without his knowledge? It was the moment everything shifted. The already simmering tension boiled over, and what had once been a difficult working relationship quickly turned into an all-out power struggle. But this wasn't just about ego. This was about Justin fighting for his vision, the vision that he had spent years working to bring to life.
Justin Baldoni exposes Blake Lively for lying in new leaked text messages.
Justin Baldoni's attorney, Brian Friedman, plans to release even more text messages between the co-stars.
I am more than willing to take every single text message that exists out there.
And if leaked text messages are to be believed, Blake had been actively working to undermine that vision the entire time. Not long after the rooftop scene revelation, screenshots of text exchanges, allegedly between Blake and members of the production team, began circulating online. While the messages have never been officially confirmed, they paint a damning picture. In one exchange, Blake reportedly expressed frustration over creative decisions being left in Justin's hands, allegedly stating that she believed she had a stronger grasp on how the film should be made. Another message suggested that Blake wasn't happy with certain casting choices and had attempted to override decisions Justin had already finalized. While some of these texts could be dismissed as typical Hollywood disagreements, the bigger picture was clear. Blake had been pulling the strings behind the scenes for months. The situation only worsened when reports surfaced that Blake had been insisting on major script changes, ones that strayed significantly from Colleen Hoover's original novel. Fans, who had already been skeptical about some of the creative choices, began questioning just how much of the movie's vision was still intact, and the one person who seemed to be completely shut out of these changes? The actual director, Justin Baldoni. With tensions at an all-time high, it was only a matter of time before things escalated further. And they did. As frustration reached a breaking point, legal action entered the picture. While details remained scarce, sources close to the situation claimed that a dispute arose over creative rights and decision-making authority. Justin, who had been involved in the project from the very start, was reportedly determined to protect his directorial vision, even if it meant taking legal measures to ensure his control over the film. Blake, on the other hand, wasn't backing down. With Ryan Reynolds in her corner and a reputation as an industry powerhouse, she allegedly pushed back hard against any attempt to limit her influence. The end result? A messy behind-the-scenes battle that overshadowed what should have been It Ends With Us moment in the spotlight.